3, 2, 1. Hi everyone, and welcome to another live Qigong Friday session. Another nice relaxed one for you. So find yourself a comfortable space, some comfortable clothes, and if you're standing, enough room to just turn your arms around your body. And if you're seated, just enough room to be able to move your hands and your arms around you. So get nice and comfy and let's warm up our body. So we'll just make a start with our usual silk wheeling. So just taking the hands, we're turning the palm away from us and towards us, just alternating, nice figure of 8. Or if you can draw the infinity symbol with your hands, just to flex the fingers and the wrist, moving backwards. Just opening up them wrists, really flexing the fingers, relaxing the elbows and the shoulders. If you're standing upright, just maintaining a nice upright posture. And then we're going to, from the elbows, just taking the hands around, just moving up, waking up the elbow joint, just waking up each joint of the body. And the other way. That's it. Now we'll go on to our shoulders. So taking the backs of the palms forward and then sweeping them arms around. So letting the tops of the shoulders move your whole arm around. So the hands are following the movement of the upper shoulders, the shoulder blades, really opening up that chest. Loosening up the shoulders, releasing any tension and tightness there. And then the opposite way, so taking the backs of the palms to push behind you and then sweeping them round from the upper arm so the lower arms are brought around. You can always bring your spine into a bit of the movement as well if you feel to. Just let the body move how it feels comfortable and natural. And then we'll just roll it back a few times to reset them before we move on to waking up the neck. So always be careful, you know your body best. There's 3 ways we can warm up our neck. So the first one we'll do, in fact, Al turns its head to open this one up. So just taking the palms in front of you, and we're going to turn them outward and turn to look to our right. Pushing them fingertips down, getting a nice stretch in the arms as well. And then back to center. Always keeping a slight lift in the crown, top of the chin, to get an extra bit of spaciousness in the vertebrae, support the spine, get a bit more space. A lot of information travels up that spinal highway. Let's give it a bit more space to do its magic. Just to the right again, really pushing them fingertips down, lifting in the crown, into center, to the other side, lifting the crown, and to center. And final time, we'll just hold it for a breath or 2. Just allowing any tension to release, keeping lifted in the crown, dropping in the fingertips, into center, and to the other side, pushing down. Breath or 2, and back to center. Lovely. So the next one's called Stork Spreads Its Feathers, and we'll do that one to wake up in a different part of our neck. So taking the palms of the hands facing forward, scooping round, and then bringing them palms down at the side so they're facing the back wall. So from the side, scooping round, and then lifting back up. So if you're standing, you can take the hips backwards for this one. And otherwise, if you're seated, just sitting in the chair, pushing them fingertips down. And then this time, keeping a lift in the crown, we're going to imagine a line from the crown of our head to the tips of the opposite fingers. So if you're taking your neck to the left, you're feeling that stretch all the way down to the right fingertips. Keeping a nice lift in the crown so there's no crunching in the neck. And this is just opening the side neck and releasing any tension on the top of the shoulder before we take it down and round to the other side. Lifting the crown, feeling that tension line going right the way like an oppositional line from the crown of your head to the tips of your fingers. Working out any tension or tightness. You can breathe nice and deep with this one. Imagining on the out breath, releasing any tightness on the tops of the shoulders while giving it a good shake out. And then we can just looking up, center and down, up, center and down. Okay, so let's move on to waking up the waist and the hips. So we'll just start with the waist if you're standing, just moving from, imagine your hips are set in concrete and just moving it off the body just to get some spaciousness into the side body, opening up them sides because they don't always or often get stretched and flexed in today's world. Keeping a nice lift in the crown so we're not crunching the spine, and the opposite way. Awesome. Okay, so now we'll bring the hips in. So we're going to take the hips in nice circles. So I'm starting circling to my left hand side. Doesn't matter which way you go, as long as you remember to go the opposite way when we change. Lifting in the crown. And again, trying to keep open in that sideways. So as you go round to the side, imagine stretching along the side a bit. So keeping that opening into the side body as well, in the opposite way. The Chinese say if there's one exercise you can do every day, this one's a great one because all of nature grows in spirals, so it allows energy to move in spirals through the whole body, all of our joints. Okay, so if you're standing, you can have a go at this one, and if not, if you're seated, you can do the gentler version. So we'll start with the gentler version in case anyone is seated. So it's just imagine dropping the tailbone down, and we're bringing the chest, it's like a slight ripple or wave through the chest. So as the hips kind of almost imagine the hips moving forward, the chest comes backwards and letting a wave travel all the way up and then tucking the chin at the top. So we're just getting a bit of it opening and stretch to the jade pillow at the back of our head, that point where the spine meets the skull. Letting that information flow nice and freely and just flexing and open up the spine. If you're standing, you can bend fully forward and let that ripple move all the way through your body. So as the chest goes forward, the hips go back. As the hips go forward, chest goes back. So it's imagine that wave coming right the way from the tips of your toes all the way up your spine. And you can put your hands on your thighs. Just let that ripple move all the way through, just loosening up the vertebrae. And gently slowing it down and slowing it down. So we'll just do a little bit more spinal opening. This one's a nice one for switching off into fight, flight, and into the rest and digest phase. This one's spinal cord breathing. So again, with this one, you're breathing in to open, expand the chest, looking up a bit, and then tucking the tailbone, really rounding the back, but keeping a bit of a lift in the crown. So again, it's like cat-cow if you've ever done yoga, where you really just imagine stretching spaciousness between the vertebrae of the spine. Opening up at the front and opening at the back. You can always see if your elbows come together at the front as well, can help to just accentuate that rounding of the back as we come to the front. Finding what feels good in your body. In rhythm with your breath if you feel to. Always going with your own body. As you breathe at a different pace to me, your body will have different tensions and tightness and range of movements. So find what works. Final time. So that's a great one to do at night before going to bed to help switch off your system and relax. I often find myself yawning after that one. So we're just going to do picking cherries now. And again, this one's just open, especially the lower back, the vertebrae. So just taking one arm above the head, one to the shoulder, and we're just stretching, imagining the hip of the upstretched arm anchored down. So again, it's stretching that side body a bit, but it's also giving us a bit of a stretch between the vertebrae of the spine. A lot of people these days spend a lot of time seated or in front of computers. So really opening up them vertebrae can support the body in the long run and help avoid any crushing of the spinal discs, which can happen after a lot of time seated. Chinese all about supporting preventative health as well as remedying and meeting your body where it's at when it needs a bit of extra attention in specific areas. And we'll slow that one down. So hopefully we're nice and warm now. And we'll do one final one. If you're standing, it's called tray of teacups again to just get that spiraling going. It's taking the palms facing forward. If you're seated, you'll just be able to do the arm movement more so. And this one again, just to open up into the spiraling, open up the spine, help your body move through that spiral movement. So the palms face forward as they come round, the belly facing away, facing behind you, facing before you, facing the belly. And moving the hips as we're turning, just to get that spiraling. And then when you get to the top the next time, going the opposite way. Again, the hands facing behind you, facing forward. And then when you're coming in, your hips are so back that you've got the space then to turn. This one's called tray of teacups. So you can imagine you're holding teacups in your hand. And you can imagine trying not to spill that tea. So as we move to the side, because we've opened up the sides, gives us that bit of extra space to keep our hands a bit more parallel to the ceiling and the floor. Lovely. Hopefully you're feeling a little bit more open after this one. And when you next get to the top, you can just take the arms down to the side. Give those shoulders one last stretch down. Imagine pushing to the corners of the room. And give it a shake out. So now that we're nice and loose, we can move on to our flows. So we start with shake the tree. And this one's just to release any tension or tightness in the body. So just a gentle bouncing. If you're sat in a chair, you can start with the fingers, the wrists, the shoulders, and the arms, really flicking out. A lot of the time, if people have been using devices, the wrist can get quite tense, the fingers. So we're just going to shake all of that out. Let it all go. You can bring an audible sigh into this one as well. So they've shown that stress hormones and the stress responses in the body, stress relieving signals have been found scientifically when we audibly sigh, which the body naturally does when there's frustration, when there's tension. So just helping your body to release any tension with the breath. And any areas of tension or tightness, you can imagine just exhaling. You can imagine that tightness like clouds of smoke coming out the mouth, being released. When babies are agitated or feeling emotional, we often naturally rock them and tap them. It's just helping that move out the body, any stuckness, any emotions. Just letting the body loosen up a bit. Often when we're frustrated and things, the muscles can get quite tense. You can gently bob into the heels if you're standing, gently on the knees. Just imagine your whole body relaxing. And you can keep the chin slightly tucked so you're getting a bit of bouncing through the spine as well. Keep it nice and supported. You can imagine a marionette string at the top of your head, keeping you slightly lifted. So it's a very effortless, gentle exercise. And the more gently we do this, really flick them wrists, the easier it gets to sustain. When you're feeling a little bit looser, slowing it down, and just noticing how you feel, hands to your sides. We're going to start in Wuji posture, so the hips, the feet are slightly wider than the hips, kind of shoulder level, the spine straight. And you can imagine a line between your tailbone and the crown of your head pulling away from each other, just to lengthen and get spaciousness in the spine, an opening of the chest, slight rounding of the arms, hands kind of at the abdomen level, and just taking some nice breaths into the abdomen, noticing how deep your breath can sink now. Just noticing how you feel throughout your body, maybe scanning through the body. And keeping some awareness in that lower abdomen with the breath. So before we do flowing movements, we just build a bit of energy in the body by bringing our whole focus inward, focusing on the lower abdomen is the area where the bodily energy is associated in Chinese medicine, the lower dantian, the Jing. And you can also imagine breathing backwards as well into the kidneys. So breathing into all four sides of the torso, the sides, front, the back. Just allowing that awareness to build some extra energy in the body. A bit of extra attention to those vital organs that do so much for us each day. You can do this seated as well, just keeping that straight stretch of the spine, slight rounding of the arms, and just the awareness. If you're standing, you can rock slightly more towards the ball of your foot, and that activates the bubbling springs, which is a kidney acupressure point that's helping with yin, that calming energy, the sinking of any excess doing, which is quite common in today's world, that busy energy. It's just letting that sink and rest so the body can restore, can relax and be fully present for the practice. Another few nice deep breaths before we move on to our first flow. We slowly build up Wuji. We started at a minute and now building up more to a couple of minutes. It's practice I've come to do now for at least 15-20 minutes a day. And it's really become effortless. It surprised me how much I enjoy being in that position and how energized and loose my body feels after it, and how different the flows have come to feel. So let's make a start with compressing the pearl, taking our hands in front of the pelvis, kind of abdomen. And we're just going to take the arms up to the sides and bring them back to compress the pearl. So imagine that center of gravity lifting from the abdomen to the chest and back down to the abdomen. Imagine pumping a bellows. And this time we'll add the breath. So we breathe in, take the arms up. And breathe out. Bring them together. Trying to move from your shoulders. The hands and the elbows stay quite fixed in space, so they're just moving because of that movement of the shoulder. We'll repeat these a few times just to breathe some awareness, move some energy through them parts of our body. And to help the mind to relax, the body to relax. A very soothing quality to the repetition. The mind doesn't have to think so much about it. The breath can sink and deepen, becoming more coordinated. Final time. Hands to the sides. You can always shake your legs as well if you're feeling any need to move your body. Before we go on to the next one, flying hands. So we're going to bring the hands up the abdomen to the chest, out to the front, and sinking it down. So again, that center of gravity is lifting up from the abdomen to the chest, the heart, the lungs, and down. Nice and narrow up the sternum, and then the wrist kind of comes to shoulder width. Hands turn, and then we breathe out to sink. Breathe in to come up. Slight hold as we turn, and then exhale. Final time. Bringing the hands to the sides, front of the pelvis or at the sides. Relaxing the shoulders, lifting the crown, tip of the neck, noticing your posture still, slight bend in the knees, and noticing how you feel. Before moving on to opening the chest, so this time the palms face the floor, and then we take them up and to the sides, and again it's that sinking of the gravity, awareness to the earth, to our foundation, and then letting them arms lift up, opening up the chest. For those that are standing, you can stand more towards the ball of your foot for this whole exercise. Again, staying aware of the hands and the shoulders. Imagine that rising and falling at the center of gravity to keep your mind present. Center of gravity lifting to the chest and sinking back to the abdomen. If it helps you, you could always visualize a ball of light in the abdomen and one in the chest, kind of around the heart. Just again to keep your mind calm, present, allowing your body to really relax and gentle, move through the movements. I find Qigong quite soothing to do at night. And it's also something I do just to wake my body up in the morning and kind of set me up for the day. And it's amazing starting the day with a relatively empty mind and not full of to-dos from the minute I get out of bed is quite a revelation. It's a very pleasant journey indeed. Final one. Palms back to the sides, not facing the abdomen. Deep breath. Before we do swimming dragon. So this one, it's like two elevators passing. So we take one palm facing up, one palm facing down, and we're just going to push those hands apart. We're going to keep the hands parallel to ceiling and floor. Turn around the middle finger as if it's a key in the lock. So we're keeping our hands nice and parallel. And this one again is stretching the vertebrae, so our back's getting a really nice bit of support in this practice. Remember to turn that key, keeping them hands nice and parallel. And on the next time the hands pass, we'll bring in the breath. So as we turn, we breathe in to center, and then we breathe out to push. Keeping a nice lift in the crown, breathing in and out to push. Breathing in, hands turn, palms meet, and breathe out with that stretch. And again, from the side, so your arms aren't too far that you're overstretching. There's a bit of a bend in the elbows. Turning that key. Imagining extra spaciousness in the spine. Trying to keep the arms kind of inside the shoulder level, so they're nice and narrow in front of the torso. Final time, as you next come to center, again taking them arms to the sides and noticing how you feel. Final one, bear goes swimming, so taking the palms of the hands, almost making a diamond. And it's like breaststroke, this one. So really opening up the chest. This one's great for literally to be inspired, to breathe in new inspiration, fresh energy. Opens up the lung points, really supporting that nice deep breath, supporting fresh energy into the body, the breath. Key way we get energy every day. Breathing out, you can imagine breathing out the old. Scooping around, breathing in, breathing out. Breathing in the new. So there can be quite a bit of a sinking as you release, and then opening the lift. And today's a new moon, and lunar involve new moon, new year, so you can breathe into them new year energies, releasing the old, breathing in whatever qualities energy is going to support you for the upcoming springtime in this part of the world. Energy for the new seeds within us, the new hopes and dreams for the year. And breathing out all that would hold us back. All we don't need. Staying relaxed in the shoulders, nice and gentle. And the next time will be the final time. And then we'll just breathe that into the chest. And you can just hold your hands in front of you and just imagine breathing in any extra energy that could support you. Imagine like heaven pouring down on you now. Sometimes I imagine like a rainbow shower or a calming, soothing colour. Sometimes I imagine love or peace, just like opening my hands to the universe and letting my goblet, my chalice be filled. So nice to imagine an effortless filling, nothing that needs doing. It's just I'm here and I'm receptive, opening up to that. Whatever peace can come now. And then we're going to draw down the heavens to finish. So just taking them hands up to the sides, and then imagine purple light washing and scanning through your whole body. So in Chinese medicine, the purple light is associated with what they call Shen, or spirit, like the universe, that purple velvety night sky. Just imagine that spaciousness washing through you. Helping to integrate, helping to release, soothe and relax the body. And then one final time. And this time we'll take the hands, thumb and forefinger into lock. I'm just going to hold that above the abdomen and take a few nice deep belly breaths as we notice how we feel. Bringing the feet together if you're standing. It's like bending the knees, and this one's called bamboo sways in the wind, or pine in the wind. And just letting your body gently rock and sway. If you're seated, just breathe in nice and deep into the abdomen. Everyone tucking the chin, lifting the crown slightly. Just giving your body space to allow the energy to move through us, the blood to flow freely. Now that this tension's been released from the body and the muscles and the fascia are more open. Consciously breathing into all four sides of the torso. Seeing how deep that breath can sink. And just noticing, aware of how your body feels, your mind, the emotions compared to when we started. Before a final deep breath, those that are standing, taking the legs against shoulder width, just gently circling the abdomen, this time around your intestines, so you won't be mirroring me. So up the right side of the body, across and down the left. Again, just supporting and digestive organs, that abdomen, where so much of what goes on in our body every day is housed. Just sharing some love there to a closer center. And then final nice deep breath. Deep into the abdomen and release with a sigh. Well, namaste everyone. Thank you for joining us. Hopefully you're feeling a bit looser, a bit calmer, a bit clearer of mind. So we're here every Friday. You're welcome to join us in the community, live or on record. Namaste. Take care.